That D.C. attack, along with this latest arrest in Texas, sparking concerns over migrant vetting as well as terrorism. Let's bring in Rick De La Torre, retired CIA operations officer. Rick, it's the question on everybody's mind. How does a guy who worked with U.S. forces in Afghanistan and then gets brought to this country as a gesture of goodwill, how does he turn around and become accused in a case of shooting two National Guard members?
That's a great question. Well, first, we need to recognize that when we say they were vetted by the CIA, that means they were vetted to do operational work in a war zone. They weren't vetted to become residents of the United States or move to suburbia somewhere in Texas. That's not our job. That's not our role. That's something that's left up to a number of different U.S. federal agencies like the State Department and U.S. citizens and the FBI and others. So when we vet someone, we're vetting them for very specific things that we want to conduct out in the field. It's not for them to come in and live with us. And as for what we're seeing in the last 48 hours, let's be clear that I think during the Biden years and in the chaos that was happening during the last few days of Afghanistan, we just let a lot of people in with no real vetting. It just doesn't exist. You can't, you can't reach out. And I served in Afghanistan, right? There's no databases there that you can query. And the Taliban and the government there is not going to be able to provide you the kind of information that we need, right, to know who's who and what they're doing. Now, you could argue that an overwhelming large percentage of them are great folks and allies and doing wonderfully here in the United States, but the risk is still high. You can see what the damage one or two individuals can do so quickly.
Yeah. Chad Wolf is the former director of the Department of Homeland Security. He says there are some very large cracks that some of these immigrants fell through. Listen.
It's time to pause this. It's time to look further into who these individuals are. In all of these countries of concern, the 20 that they've identified, these are countries like Yemen and Iran and Afghanistan where the records are non-existent. There's nothing to vet them from. They say their birthday is February 1st of whatever year, and you can't verify that.
So he's saying exactly what you're saying, that it's really not possible to check records on a lot of these people who were brought into the United States.
Right. In fact, his point about birthdays, it's absolutely spot on. I remember, when I served in the war zones, that most people's birth dates were January 1st of whatever year they were born in. And that's because they just don't use the regular standard calendar. And a lot of them live in villages and in areas outside of, any kind of support to register a birth. So when they just come down into some town and register the birth of a new child, they just register it to that year. So, and then you've got a lot of common names that are reused over and over again. So it's very, very difficult to vet folks. So that is, what he said about huge cracks, that is an understatement. There are colossal cracks in our vetting process when it comes to bringing people in from the war zones, especially during that time frame in Afghanistan.
Jeanine Pirro, let me mention Jeanine Pirro is a familiar face to viewers here on Fox. She's the new U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., and she says the Biden administration was essentially gaslighting Americans about the vetting process. Listen.
If you saw the chaos that was going on at that airport in Kabul, in Afghanistan, it was typical of what was going on in the Biden administration. And the Pentagon, I believe it was Kirby and people in the Biden administration said the Afghan withdrawal that we all know was disastrous was a success. And that's a quote. They called that a success. That chaos is not a success. That is a nightmare.
Rick, would you agree with her assessment, her general assessment?
Yeah, look, you cannot run mass immigration screening from a flight line at an airport in Kabul and expect it to meet the same kinds of security standards that we would, that's required for any kind of U.S. entry. So it's no surprise.
Rick De La Torre, formerly with the CIA. Rick, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.